Mikitenko, you know, is mature in marathon terms beyond her experience, really, because this is only her second season, and she is closing down on the lead. There's no question about that. Tafa's still got the pacemakers there with her, but I just wonder how she will respond when Mikitenko comes up alongside, because she surely will. I have a feeling very shortly we'll have a lead group with 2 women in it and probably a couple of pacemakers, and we shall see how that proceeds then, because we've got a good race on our hands here, particularly with the women. It'll be interesting to see how the men's race develops, but the women is very, very different. Very different indeed, with Mikitenko closing down. She can't be more than, what, 40 metres behind now, I wouldn't think, in second place, having overtaken Haile Gebrselassie, who was up in that leading group for such a long time and paid the pen. Now, is that the pacemaker? I think it is. It's gone. Yes, he has. And he was the pacemaker alongside Tafa, I believe. I think so.
Well, I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. But certainly one of the pacemakers is out there, and if that is the case, then Tafa is on her own, and you do wonder whether he's been instructed to pull out, because it would be fairer, wouldn't it, if Tafa now had to race without a specific pacemaker beside her, if there happens to be another male racer beside her. And of course we saw Casa Tedeschi still there. No, there's Tafa's pacemaker. Yeah, he is still there. Yeah. And you can see Mikitenko now has gone past Gebrselassie and is homing in on Tafa, and the gap is closing with every stride. And you have to say, this has been perfectly judged from Mikitenko. Whether or not she goes on to win, I don't know. But Tafa probably, almost certainly, has no idea that Mikitenko has come from a long, long way back at halfway to gradually reel her in. And if this surge, or at least this maintaining of tempo from Mikitenko, does keep her going through the final quarter of the race, and Tafa, who is inevitably slowing, went out, I think, far too quickly. Remember, they were on something like 2:17.5, 2:18 tempo for the first half or so of the race. Then Tafa is going to be passed and won't be able to respond. It'll be fascinating, Stuart, to see if Tafa can respond.
Yeah, indeed, but Jan Białka, Poland, is the pacemaker for Mikitenko, and he's done a very, very good job indeed. So the pacemakers now, number 87 is Abel Kirui. He's up there. Look, he looks very comfortable himself.
Well, I was going to say, Stuart, I believe they've now passed through 30 kilometres. In fact, they passed through 30 kilometres a couple of minutes ago. We'll try and give you the splits for that.
Yeah, it was the pacemaker at the head of Haile Gebrselassie that went there with the red vest we saw, and there it is, 1:28.25 at 30k. So 1:28.35.
1:28.25, I think it was, wasn't it?
Well, it's around about. It's still around about 2:04, 2:05. So it's still going to be on, isn't it? Really, it's possible.
They are now actually outside world record schedule. Gebrselassie, at this stage last year, had the pacemakers drop out. They dropped out at exactly 30 kilometres. Then Haile was left to his own devices, and he pressed on and ran on with a more free spirit, if you like, a more free running attitude, without being contained by the pacemakers in a way, and actually accelerated through the last 10 or 12 kilometres. Now that's what he needs to have happen here, and really the pacemaker here wearing 87, that's Abel Kirui, would do well to move out of the way and let Gebrselassie press on.
Well, he's got company, hasn't he, Gebrselassie? Kamathi and Kwambai still there. They've been tagging on the back, and soon Gebrselassie will be out there on his own. Then it is down to him. The pacemaker having a little chat. They're chatting to him all the way, as you can see.
And that's in the yellow there is Mark Milner. He's taken off his blue jacket he had on earlier. On the phone, that is the race director, Mark Milner. What a wonderful job the German has done, the Bernil has done, to bring this race into the absolute forefront of the world marathon top group, so to speak. It is, of course, one of the 5 marathon majors, but if you expand your thinking, there are probably a group of about 10 marathons in the world that can claim to be real best of the best.
Now look here. Kwambai has latched on, and all of a sudden Charles Kamathi has dropped off the back. So it looks as though that's it. It looks as though the race is on now, with Haile Gebrselassie, no pacemakers, followed by James Kwambai of Kenya, and Charles Kamathi about 10, 12, 15 metres behind, all of a sudden has dropped off the pace, and it's now down to the great man. What can he do?
Well, if Haile follows the pattern of last year, he will begin to turn the screw now. It would be perfect timing. He won't want to leave it to a sprint finish. That's unthinkable at this sort of tempo. There is Kimathi, the first time we've seen Kimathi show any sign of weakness. The strain on the face, perhaps visible 10 or 15 minutes ago. I didn't think he looked quite as relaxed, but now the gap tells the story. It's 25 or 30 metres. The real surprise package here is the man wearing 10 there, James Kwambai, and Gebrselassie. Is he smiling anymore, or is he under pressure? Can you imagine if Gebrselassie was broken and was beaten and his world record went? That would be one of the major upsets of this athletics year.
Yep, he's won the last 2 Berlin marathons, looking for a unprecedented third win. And he's got company. And remember earlier we were saying how uncomfortable James Kwambai looked. Now then, Tafa's there, Mikitenko's right behind her, look. This is a race, the women's race is well on. Now all of a sudden those huge margins have dissipated, and Mikitenko's running a far more even-paced marathon here, and it's paying dividends at the moment. How inexperienced can you be to have the nous to do what she's done here?
Well, it's only her third marathon, Stuart, but clearly she's done her homework. She knows the tempo she is able to maintain. She knows the sort of tempo that's likely to win the race. She may well be heading for a personal best there. There's Chariot, who dropped back about half an hour, maybe 40 minutes ago. We believe she is in 4th place behind Kiprop in 3rd. But that remains to be seen. We haven't seen Kiprop for some time now. But at least Chariot there has some company, although it is very tough for these